This is the Personal Foul Podcast. We are back. We are rebranding, and I have a new co-host, which has never happened before on this show. It's always been a solo show with me doing this, but I'm now bringing a partner in crime into this thing, and I think this is going to be great and special here. So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome you, my co-host, Phil Sitta. Phil, how the heck are you? And I appreciate you
I
doing
am
these with me.
fan freaking tastic. I am on a podcast. You get my genius sports mind to be with you once a week. You are so honored. You're blessed. I mean, let's face it. You get me once a week. I know you. The only thing I don't like is seeing all that Pittsburgh Steelers stuff behind you. But other than that, I think we're going to have a fantastic show.
I think we are indeed, Phil. So, again, for those who don't know, I'm Colton Gesser. Been doing some podcasting, and I've been working in New York, which I've kind of made it a little career switch and going full blown into construction. But again, I love talking sports; it's a passion of mine. So I figured, why not continue doing it? I already do the For the Fan show with Dom, Jake, and Will. So I appreciate them as always. Did the show yesterday with those guys, and went over the NFC East. So we'll talk. We'll definitely talk a lot of ball on this podcast. So we're not just football though on this podcast. We're going to
No.
talk all the major sports. I'm going to kind of try to get Phil into soccer a little bit, toss a little soccer in there
I
at
like hell.
times. I'm gonna try like hell, man. It was on a Everton podcast earlier, so love talking soccer. So, but yeah. So we're gonna talk everything. We're gonna talk baseball, basketball, football, hockey. You name it, we're
Hockey.
gonna talk it. So you got a Devils fan here, you got an Islanders fan there. So we're gonna definitely be
We both
talking.
hate the Rangers because the Rangers
We
suck.
both do hate the Rangers, so we'll definitely be talking plenty of hockey, plenty of pucks. So, but yeah,
For
I'm a
that now,
passionate
let's get
Steeler
off.
fan as Phil mentioned with my background, everything going on here in the background. I'm definitely a diehard Steeler fan. And Phil, tell the folks a little bit about yourself because they know a little bit about me. But what about you, Phil?
Well, I am a sports genius. I'm a at least a 20-time fantasy sports winner. I even won your inaugural basketball league, if I recall. Is that right?
You
I
did last
dominated,
time
I
I
think.
checked. After that, it hasn't been good for you
Oh,
though. Has not been good for you
you
ever
had to
since.
change the rules on me because I was so damn good. But I'm very passionate about sports. Baseball is my first love. Yeah, I know I'm an old guy. Blah 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 blah. But to me, and I'll steal this from Mad Dog Chris Russo. In its purest form, baseball is the best sport. I was at the Philly Yankee game a couple weeks ago with my family and Ray Trimble's family. It was his son's very first game. My nephew Keith. Hey Keith, we had a blast. It was so intense. We had Bryce Harper up in the bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, 2 out. You could hear a pin drop in Philadelphia. In that disgusting, vile city, it was such a electric playoff atmosphere, and you don't get that in regular season games much in other sports, but you got it in baseball, and that's why baseball is my first love. Next, obviously, football. I'm going to go on record right now and say Dan Marino is the greatest football player of all time. I don't give a damn what anybody says. You could take Tom Brady, pack it up your ass with that, okay? I'm a diehard Dolphin fan, and I'm all about Dan Marino. That's right. And this year's Dolphins, oh boy, we're gonna have some fun this year. Hopefully, we got a defense. We got Brooks in the middle. We're gonna take off Tua to Hill to Waddle. We got all these fast running backs. I see probably a perfect season for the Dolphins. As for basketball, excuse me, beer break. As for basketball, unfortunately, I'm a Nets fan. It's very painful Net fan. I still cringe over Durant with his toe on the line a couple of years ago against the Bucks. Broke my heart, broke the team up. It was awful. And as Colton said earlier, I'm a diehard Islander fan. I grew up with the dynasty, the last dynasty in sports, by the way. Okay, because you have a championship, you have back to back, you have a three-peat, and then you have a dynasty. When you win four in a row, it's a dynasty, and that hasn't been done in professional sports since. I don't want to hear about soccer, WNBA, or any other nonsense. The four major sports, they are the last true dynasty in sports. I don't care
I
what
think
anybody
the
says.
I think the I think the Golden State Warriors would like a word with that.
Did they win four in a row?
Oh my gosh, you know how many
LeBron
the
block?
Warriors won?
The LeBron block? No, I don't think so.
Wow, defending LeBron. Look at you, huh?
Hey, he's a great player. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. He's a top 5 player of all time. Is he Jordan like everyone likes to say he is? No. And I know you're a LaFraud fan, so we'll take that with a grain of salt.
Uh,
But I mean, he is an iconic, you know, name in sports lexicon. You can't deny that. And that block was probably the greatest block in basketball history. And that ruined the dynasty.
wow,
Go on.
that fast to not call the Golden State Warriors a dynasty is kind of
I am
crazy.
not calling them a dynasty.
I
I
think a
won't
lot of
call the
people.
early
I think a
90s
lot.
Yankees, I'm sorry, the late 90s Yankees a dynasty because Mariano Rivera threw that pitch to Sandy Alomar Jr. in 97. I'm sure you were a wee lad back then, but I remember this like yesterday. And that cost the Yankees probably 5 in a row. They should have won 6 in a row. They should have beat Arizona. That was a disgrace as well in 01. But I can't call them a dynasty either. To me, a
I guess
dynasty means something. You can't have any little breaks in between, like the Patriots do, like the Warriors did. That doesn't work with me. 4 in a
yeah,
row.
I see. I see. We have a different taste on dynasty, and I think a lot of
Yeah,
people would have a different taste on time
you
on a
throw it around
dynasty.
very loosely. To me, that's just not.
Oh, I don't know if it's
You know,
loosely. I mean,
it's like
geez,
the Hall
Louise,
of Fame.
The Warriors went to what 7 straight finals. I mean, that's a
Yeah, and they lost
dynasty.
a few of them.
That's a dynasty. Sorry to tell you, Phil.
That's not a dynasty.
As we grow
You
this,
got
we'll
to win
definitely
all
touch
7. Yeah, that's a dynasty.
as we grow along and we touch on this. I mean, the Spurs also a dynasty. Like
Oh,
there's
come
definitely
on.
some.
They had a couple of down years. They would win a title, stink for a couple of years, win a title, stink. Now they got Wemby. They're going to be really good again real soon. That's why Popovich isn't leaving, although he should have been on his way out a couple of years ago. But let's not talk
Again,
about basketball. We're not in basketball season. We got baseball right now. We have football. We have a football trade made today. I got to hear all the Eagles fans going, "Oh, we got Dotson. Oh, for only a 5th-round pick. What a steal!" The guy is a 5th wide receiver on that team. You have Jesus, what the hell is his name?
AJ Brown, Devonta
You
Smith.
have
Yeah.
Smith. You have Goddard going down the middle. You got Barkley coming out of the backfield. What the hell are they going to do with Dotson? He's only there in case somebody gets hurt. That's what I think of that whole trade. So, Eagle fans, calm down. You haven't won anything with Jahan Dotson.
Well, this is what happens when you're in the Jersey market. This is exactly what happens. You get engulfed. Eagles talkers are the only good local team until I believe the Jets actually do something. I will not
The
believe
Jets
the
will do
Jets.
nothing.
It's the
We'll touch
Jets
on
for
that
you.
in a moment. Let's finish
We'll,
with the
we'll
Eagles.
definitely we'll definitely touch on that in a moment. So again, I guess we're all done with intros here with Phil. So I guess we'll dive in a little bit of ball here since we just started this show. Give the viewers a little taste of what this show could be. So we'll definitely talk a little ball. And Phil already mentioned on the Eagles. So I'm going to change tone here a little bit since we're talking football right now. I'm going to go with I guess the other hot topic so far of the offseason, and that would be the trade rumors regarding Brandon Ayuk from the San Francisco 49ers. I got to tell you, my team's been involved with it since day one with Brandon Ayuk. And the fact that, again, there was a post of Brandon Ayuk in a Steelers jersey, and Brandon Ayuk liked it today. I'm so sick and tired of this Brandon Ayuk nonsense. I got to tell you, Phil, as a Steeler fan, I know what's going on here, and I don't blame him. Get your money. If you can wedge out another team to get you your money, do it. But I am sick and tired of this Brandon Ayuk drama. It's blown up my phone. I got a bunch of I'm a part of Steeler Nation as well. I do live shows with them,
Sorry.
and and the fact that I just keep seeing the Brandon Ayuk stuff, like, oh, Brandon, I'm like, I'm so sick and tired of it. You would think this news is like regarding like a top 5 quarterback possibly being traded.
Yeah.
How like desperate and like how long everyone's talked about this. I'm just sick and tired of hearing it. It's again, I like Brandon Ayuk. I think he's a very, very good player. But let's not act like we're trading for Justin Jefferson here. Let's not act like we're trading for Jamar Chase or Tyreek Hill is being moved here. Like we got to stop with this whole conversation with Brandon Ayuk because it is very draining. It's not like he's Tyreek Hill or he's Jamar Chase or he's Justin Jefferson here. Let's calm down with this. I got to tell you, it's
He's
driven
not
me
even Garrett
nuts.
Wilson, as far as I'm concerned. I hate the Jets.
Wow, not even see. All right, well, that's Brandon Ayuk's a very good receiver. He's definitely
Very
a top
good. Let's
10
not
guy.
let's not kid ourselves. He's very good, but he's a number 2. In fact, on that team, he's probably a number 3. When Kittle's healthy, he's probably a better pass catcher than Ayuk. I mean, Samuel's number 1. You can't deny that.
I think the 49ers would tell you it's Brandon Ayuk as the number 1 guy.
Oh, come on. It's Samuel.
Well, Debo Samuel can't stay on the field. Because that's where this whole stuff started off in the beginning of the offseason, that the Steelers are looking for another wide receiver. And it was like, Debo Samuel's available. And I think the Steelers said, yeah, I'm not taking that contract down on Debo with all of his injuries. Because the problem is, like, again, no taking away from the South Carolina man and Debo Samuel. He's one of the best athletes in the league. I mean, the fact that the 49ers put him in the backfield at moments to have him run the ball because he's that freakish of an athlete. But the problem is with Brandon Ayuk, with Debo Samuels, he can't stay healthy. You always had the moment like, all right, when's Debo getting hurt? And there it is, week 6, he's done for 7 weeks, 8 weeks. So that's the problem. And the Steelers said no right away, and then it turned into, oh boy, we're hoping we can get rid of Debo Samuel because then we have to pay Ayuk. We paid Christian McCaffrey. Brock Purdy's around the corner, not on that mystery relevant contract soon. So that's the problem.
Warner,
that's
all
the
those
problem.
Players.
That's the problem in San Francisco, where they were trying to get rid of Debo Samuel, where, okay, we can pay Ayuk then as a compromise. And the problem is, no one wants Debo Samuel's contract. We'll take Brandon Ayuk off you, though.
Right, but you got to pay him. And let me ask you this, all kidding aside, what the hell are you going to do with him? You have no quarterback to throw him the ball. Don't give me that.
I don't want to turn this into a Steelers show already. Trust me, I don't
love
the quarterback.
But let's face facts. Russell Wilson, he's got a noodle arm now, and Fields
26
can't hit a
touchdowns
ball
last
if it's 5 feet in front of him. What are you
we're talking about Russell Wilson, who had 26 touchdowns last season. We forget that.
All right, 26, big deal.
You know what the Steelers had last season? The Steelers had 13 touchdown passes last year. 13.
Well, you had small.
I'll take 26. Trust me, all day long.
Yeah, but is he going to give you 26 touchdowns?
You had Brandon Ayuk to George Pickens and Pat Freiermuth and Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. I think you get 26 touchdowns.
Not a top offense. Come on.
Are you serious? You have 2 of the best wideouts in the game. You have 2 of the best.
You're telling me Pickens and Ayuk would be 2 in the top in the game?
That's easily a top 5 duo. That's easily a top 5.
Pickens had 3 great games toward the end of the year last year. Otherwise, he was non-existent. He stunk. What did he do last year?
He was one of the best receivers in football. He sure did. He was one of the best receivers in football.
1,000 yards in 17 games. Big deal.
Congratulations. He's one of the best receivers in football. What are you talking about? And you just
complain about Homer bandwagon already.
It's not even on the Homer bandwagon. He's one of the best receivers in football. And you talk about Kenny Pickett throwing him the football. Sorry to tell you, he's one of the best receivers in the game.
I'll give you that. There's an upgraded quarterback. But to tell me that they're going to beat the Ravens or the Bengals in that division,
they won 5-1 in the division last year. We forget that, right?
Yeah, that's great. That was last year.
They got an improvement at quarterback. See, this is my point in the Steelers. I don't like when people talk shit about the Steelers because the Steelers are actually a good football team. Sorry to remind people.
They're not a good team. They have a great coach. They have a Hall of Fame coach in Tomlin, and I know a lot of you Steeler fans don't like Tomlin.
I'm on the top of that wagon on not liking Tomlin, Phil.
Why? He's getting playoffs every year.
That's great. When was the last time the Steelers won a playoff game, Phil?
You just said you had a terrible quarterback last year. Did you?
Correct.
Not?
I did.
All right.
You're telling me he didn't have Ben? Did Ben retire in 2016? Oh, I don't think so. That's right.
Oh, he's stealing my line. I didn't even get it out yet. He's stealing my line.
That's
right.
You said it. That's right already. That's why I had to return it for you. Oh, gosh.
Well done.
Well, again, so what are your overall thoughts? What are your final thoughts on the Brandon Ayuk stuff? Because again, it seems like this thing's never going to end.
Save their money, not trade for him. San Francisco wants to get rid of him because they drafted that kid Pearsall, who I think is going to be a stud. It fit right into that system for them. John Lynch, he knows how to draft. I have to give him that. The man can draft players. Him and Baltimore, who's Ozzie Newsome, he was great at drafting as well. They can draft players. I think they will trade Ayuk. They just want to get his contract and the drama off their hands at this point. And I don't blame them. Let Pittsburgh take him. Let him Tomlin going to deal with that headache? You're going to have, Antonio Brown Jr. over there now?
That's one thing I'll give Tomlin for in my final thoughts on it. Tomlin does really well with, I wouldn't say Brandon Ayuk's a head case. Antonio Brown was a head case. So, and the fact that was kept under wraps and no one really knew about it until he left Pittsburgh.
And that's why he's a Hall of Fame coach.
For just keeping Antonio Brown's in wraps.
The what?
I said for keeping Ben for AB in
Hell
house.
yeah, that alone puts him in the Hall of Fame.
Oh my gosh.
Ah, he's got a
Uh,
ring. God, come on, you underestimate it. There were so many bad. You want Saleh over at the Jets being your head coach?
did
Talk
I
about
ever say?
oh,
Did I ever name my replacement? You sound like my father now on replacements for Tomlin.
don't
But
replace him.
so enough with the Steelers.
All right,
Let's move
let's go.
on to a little more local and a little more powerful right now. What's going on in the world of baseball, and that would be the New York Yankees' own Aaron
Aaron
Judge.
Judge.
I can't believe he hit another one tonight. He's on pace for I think 61 home runs. What is your
38,
thoughts?
111 RBIs, may win the Triple Crown, and they still won't give him the MVP because of the New York bias against New York players winning an MVP. It's a disgrace. He should have beat Altuve back in 17 before the scandal hit. That was a joke in itself. He had a better year than Altuve, but no, he's from New York. We're not going to give it to him. God forbid if they give anybody from New York an award. They had to last year because or 2 years ago because Otani was hurt. They had no choice. It's a joke. He's a clear-cut MVP. The Yankees are nothing without him. Now, more importantly, let's talk about Soto because he's having a career year. He is. And he's only 25. Where's he going in the offseason?
I if it's not the
I'll tell you where he's
pinstripe,
going.
if it's not the pinstripes, it's probably the New York Mets.
He ain't going to the Mets, and I'm going to tell you why. First of all, anyone who goes to the Mets goes to die in their careers. See Frankie Lindor, okay? He's done nothing since he became a Met. But to Soto's point, he started in Washington. He had Harper. Granted, Harper left. He won a World Series without Harper. Sorry, Philly fans. He won a World Series without him, but he had that amazing year from Rendon. And boy, what an awful contract the Angels signed
Oh,
to him.
it's
One of
one
the
of the
worst
worst
contracts of
contracts
all time.
ever. Yeah.
But he had that backup with Rendon. Goes to San Diego. He's got Tatis. He's got Machado. He has these numbers because he has always had backup in his lineup. He goes to the Mets. Who's backing him up over there? Vientos? Really? Come on. This guy on a fluke year? That ain't happening. He's staying as a Yankee. He knows him and Judge are going to put up Ruth and Gary like numbers for the next 5 to 7 years, probably, as long as they stay healthy. He'd probably take a little bit of a discount. I mean, this is the same guy who told, you know, Ted Leonard there to go to hell when he said no to 400 million a few years ago, and he got scathed for it. But it ends up being the right decision. And I think he's going to stay a Yankee. I hope he stays a Yankee. And I hope the Yankees get Judge off the center field and put him at first base where he belongs. Call up Dominguez. Call up the other kid. What's his name? Spencer Jones. Get them in it. Have one of the youngest outfielders they can all hit. You don't have to worry about, get rid of Rizzo. He's done. I mean, come on. Ben Rice, I like him. Bring him off as a role player. But, and then once, Stanton's contract's done, which I think is in 4 more years. Jesus, what an abysmal contract that was. But once he's gone, you make Judge DH. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can work around that. But the priority is to sign Soto. The other priority is to win a World Series, but that's not going to happen. And as you all are going to learn, I hate Aaron Boone. I think he's one of the worst managers ever in this sport. He tries to be your friend instead of managing, and that irritates the hell out of me. I can't stand it. He makes the same stupid moves every time. 2 nights ago, they're playing the Indians, a playoff team. He takes Stanton's bat out of it. Stanton walked. I think it was in the 8th inning. Stanton comes out of the lineup because he walks. He pinch runs Trent Grisham, who came out. I think it was Torres. Got the double off the wall. What happens? He gets thrown out at home plate. Terrible job. The third base coach stinks. That's always been an issue. The Yankees are always getting runners thrown out at home plate in Boone's tenure. Always takes unnecessary chances. And then what happens in the 11th inning? Second and third, 1 out. Trent Grisham's up, and he weakly pops out to first base. Yankees lose the game. I can't stand losses like that, and I can't stand Aaron Boone because he makes these stupid decisions time and time again, and it's got to end. The Yankees will not win a World Series with Aaron Boone. I'm telling you that right now.
That's a lot there, Phil. Yeah, the Yankees
There's
are.
more. It's only a half-hour show, so I'm going to shut up.
Yeah, again, there's a lot to talk about the Yankees. I'm going to touch on the first point on Soto. Trust me, I agree. He goes to the Mets because the Mets trade is kind of like, okay, cool, we'll let Pete Alonso walk, but we're going to sign Soto. I'm like, no, 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 no. You can't do that if you're the Mets. You have to keep Pete Alonso and
Keep
sign
him
Juan
going.
Soto.
What are
You
you
say
going to keep
Pete the
Alonso
bum?
for?
He's
You're
gonna
going to
be an
give this
all
guy
time.
$100 million?
He's gonna be an all time Met. Come on,
An all-time Met?
he's an all time Met.
Big
I don't know what the.
deal, an all-time Met. David Wright's an all-time Met. He wouldn't
Yeah,
crack the Yankees all-time lineup.
you got to keep Pete. He's gonna go down as your home run king, RBI leader at the end of his. You laugh. That's what he would
200.
be. Homegrown Met. Sorry to tell you, it'd be an absolute shame for
He's
the
home
Mets to let
run.
him
Big
walk.
deal.
He's still one of the better hitting first basemen in baseball. Sure, he's
He
having
is.
a down year. He's still one of the best hitting first basemen in
I'll
baseball.
tell you, there's a lot of first basemen having down years. Olsen in Atlanta having a down year. Freeman with the Dodgers. He should be batting 400 with Otani in front of him. He's had I mean, for Freddie Freeman, he's having a down year. Uh, there was another one. I forget. There's a lot of first basemen having down years this year. It's kind of startling.
But
Sorry, I
that's
got
my point. That's my point. I think it'd be kind of stupid for the Mets to let Pete Alonso walk to then bring in Juan Soto. Your lineup still sucks. So
yeah,
that's kind of my point on it. And yeah, again, I'm kind of the same person as you with Boone. I'm not a huge Boone guy. I can give two rats ass about Boone, but I also don't think it's all on Boone. I think this. I don't know about you. As far as the Yanks go, for me, I think Cashman is pulling the strings as far as some of the decisions go, as far as the lineup.
Cashman went on record and Boone went on record saying that Boone makes the lineup every day, and he does an atrocious job with that lineup. I'm tired of seeing Glaber Torres batting first, or that other bum. What's his name? The guy from the Red Sox. How the hell do I not know his name? Bad job on my part. What's his name? The left fielder.
Verdugo, baby.
Verdugo.
Dugo.
Another bum. Why is he leading? Put Volpe back. I know Volpe's slumping. Put him lead off. Leave him alone, and he'll be fine. But no, we got to play Russian roulette every day with the damn lineup. Stupid.
It's the Yankees for you, Phil. So we talked a little
Yeah.
local, talked a little national. What do you think of your Dolphins? Again, this is kind of the intro show, so I don't want to go too
Hold on. I
deep
was
on
baseball
topic.
for one more second. One more second. Then we'll go to the Dolphins. Managerial change today. Scott Service, whatever the hell his name is, a bum manager.
Yep,
Another one
Seattle.
who likes to play analytics. I can't stand analytics, by the way. I'm old school with that nonsense. Got fired today, and they bring in this bum, Dan Wilson. Do you realize the collapse the Mariners have had? I mean, this is one of epic proportions, but nobody's talking about it because nobody really gives a damn about Seattle. I mean, I know I don't. Butthole city. Try not to curse. But it's a useless city. Nobody cares. As far as I'm concerned, they could be part of Canada. As far as the hell with Seattle. But a big managerial change. Now you bring in this unknown Dan Wilson, who's never managed before in his life. You're bringing him in, and you think you're going to stop the Astros, who are dead in the water and don't have Kyle Tucker. It's an amazing job by the Astros. I guess the garbage cans are back there.
Yeah, again, Seattle reminds me of the team in the AL East, and that would be the Toronto Blue Jays. A lot of young, upcoming talent. Again, you have Julio Rodriguez there in Seattle, and
A lot of
they
talent there. A
just
lot of great
seem
pitching.
to
Woo. You got
Castillo.
Castillo's having an all-world year.
Yes, he
Once
is.
again, nobody cares because it's Seattle. But they're an amazing team, an amazing staff, a good bullpen, and they just keep blowing it. And I think analytics has a part in it.
That's what baseball's become, Phil. So
It's a joke.
yeah, I mean it's very similar to Toronto. I mean, Toronto had a lot of young talent as well. So Toronto's some odd reason everyone keeps hyping them up going into the season, just like Seattle, and it's utter disappointment at the end.
I mean, who the hell is having a worse year than Bo Bichette? Once again, nobody cares because it's Canada, and nobody cares about Canada. I know I don't. But it's, it is what it is. I mean, Bichette's terrible. Vlad's not had a great year.
He's gotten
Varsho,
hot. I mean, Vlad's gotten hot the last after the All-Star break. He's
he's
been one
gotten
of the best
hot,
hitters.
but they haven't won. They still stink. Their pitching's atrocious. They
Well, that's
stack.
that's part of the problem. They signed Barrios from Minnesota and thought he was going to be the big move for them, big
What a
ace, and he's
piece of
been
it. That's a shame.
They bring in Kevin Gosman from San Francisco, and it
He's
hasn't
been
really worked
awful
out
this
that
year.
great.
I mean, what'd you expect? He's in one of the biggest ballparks, and you bring him into a bandbox in the American powerhouse AL East. Of course, he's going to get lit up. Although on the flip side, Burns has done a good job in Baltimore. Although they expanded the park there in Baltimore, but I still think Baltimore is going to crap the bed, so to speak, because their bullpen is atrocious. They traded for Sir Anthony Dominguez, and he's blown like the past 3 saves. Kimbrel stinks. The bullpen is complete ass. I mean, I can't see them going far in the playoffs, especially when, with analytics, you're pulling your starters after 4 innings in a playoff game and expecting that bullpen to do well. No, that ain't going to happen. I see Baltimore one and done.
Wow. That's a lot of chat coming from a Yankee fan. Like we don't have Clay
Damn
Holmes
right it
leading the
is.
league. Like we don't have Clay Holmes leading the league in blown
10
saves.
blown saves. He's awful. And look, we're spoiled by Rivera.
See,
That's
see,
how it
I
is.
see how you're smiling. I see how fast you started smiling. You make fun of the Orioles bullpen, yet the Yankees and Clay Holmes. God Almighty,
Hey,
you don't want to see that guy come in.
great. I
You
mean,
don't
this
want to see that. You don't want to see the white horse come in.
so much. He's the next Met. He sucks. Anybody on the Mets suck. And we're going to pick him up and we're relying on him. He's trash. Send him back to the Mets where he belongs.
Oh
The
gosh.
hell with you Met fans out here. I know I'm going to get scathing reviews from you Met fans, and I really don't give a damn because they suck. All right. You want to hear about the Dolphins?
Give me bet your fish.
All right. I'm not going to give you the homer route here. My problem with Tua, he's great against teams that suck, like the Jets, like the Panthers, piles up, he's a stack compiler. When it comes to a big game, he's a deer in headlights. I look at the Philly game last year, and I was there, and I was not happy, screaming at the Eagle fans. And by the way, you fraudulent Eagle fans, I have no problem warring with you. I go to Philadelphia with my Dolphin shirt on, and I fight with you, and I don't give a damn. Anyway, sorry to get off track there. The Eagle game, both Buffalo games, that was a disgrace. You can't lose both games to the Bills. You can't call yourself a big-time team and lose both those games. The Kansas City game, this is what made me laugh. Because, I'm on all these Dolphin chats and everything, and I hear people, oh, yeah, we have a chance against Kansas City. They're coming off a tough game. Running backs hurt. Pacheco, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be -7 degrees, not a wind chill. -7. Miami sucks in cold weather. And that's the Dolphins' fault because they didn't win the games they should. The thing is, they won 3 more games, they would have had home field advantage for the playoffs. And there were 3 very winnable games against some of the tougher teams that they blew it against. I think the only good team they beat was Dallas at home, and that was a shit show as well. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to curse. But that was that was an abomination of a game. That was who tried to lose the game more. I think that was the Christmas night game. Joke of a game. The Dolphins and Tua need to step up against quality teams. Otherwise, who the hell cares? You're a 6 seed and you're going to get destroyed by Kansas City again. Where do you see the Steelers?
We went over the AFC North not too long ago on our For the Fan podcast, going over all the divisions. We just finished up yesterday on the NFC East. So we're getting ready to start the season off. But we talked about the AFC North, and that whole division, I have them all between 9 and 12 wins. The
I say
whole entire division.
last in that division. Last
Yeah,
place. If
yeah.
Watson stays healthy. Watson has to stay healthy. And what an abortion of a trade that's been for Cleveland. Oh, my God. Made Houston contenders again. But if Watson stays healthy, I think Pittsburgh's the last place team because they have the worst quarterback in the division.
Yeah, the same quarterback, Deshaun Watson, that we haven't seen Texans Deshaun Watson in 3 years. That's 4 years.
Correct.
That's great. So,
Correct.
yeah, I don't know how he's all of a sudden ahead of Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, but I
Oh,
digress.
come on. You don't even know your quarterback is. You just mentioned 2 quarterbacks. Who's your starting quarterback?
For me, it's going to be Russell Wilson week 1.
Okay, so it's going to be Russell Wilson. He's going to have a bad game, and all you ingrate Steeler fans are going to start calling for Justin Fields to come out, and then all of a sudden, it's a wet, sloppy game against Baltimore. He's going to fumble the ball 4 times, and that's coming down the pike. And then all of a sudden, we want Russell Wilson back in. And that's what's going to happen. You're going to be playing roulette at quarterback, and you can't win in the NFL that way.
Well, sorry to tell you. See, this is how much I know you don't know about Pittsburgh. Steelers don't play any of their division opponents till after week 10. So sorry, Baltimore's
I'm
way
sorry I
down
didn't
the line.
memorize the Pittsburgh schedule.
Way down the line. Well, the Steelers have one of the
Well,
toughest
that's even
schedules in
worse for
football.
Pittsburgh because that means you're going to have a lot of nasty weather games. They're all outdoor games. I mean, Jesus, that's the last thing you want. You want to play these guys early. They all have good running games. Who's
So
your
is
running back,
Pittsburgh.
by the way? Najee Harris?
And Jalen Warren, yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
Jalen White,
That's
yeah.
right.
Najee 2-yard Harris? Yeah, okay. Good luck with that. The offensive
Funny stuff.
line has been Swiss cheese. I don't want to hear it. That is a last place team. Stop being a homer. Start being realist. Start focusing on the number one pick. You guys should tank, is what you guys should do this year.
We're
Get a quarterback.
definitely not tanking with two of the best edge rushers in football, and Highsmith and Watt, and then you bring in Patrick Queen, one of the better
Wow.
middle linebackers in football.
Highsmith is one of the best edge rushers.
He's a top 10 edge rusher. Look at the numbers.
Oh,
Sorry to tell you,
he's
Phil.
not a top 10 edge rusher.
He sure is. Sorry to tell
Stop
you.
it. Parsons.
Correct. Go through the list. Sorry to tell you. Go ahead. Put your money where your mouth is. Let's go, Phil.
For God's sakes.
Put your money where your mouth is. You want to talk a big game? I'm
No,
going
we
to call
got
you out on it. That's what's going to be great about this show, folks. I'm going to get to call out Phil for his blatant, astronomical thoughts and comments, just like that we just heard right there. Phil, shoot away. You got the floor.
Top 10 defensive lineman?
He's a top 10 edge rusher in football.
Edge rusher, whatever the hell he is today?
Yep.
It's
Go ahead.
garbage.
Give me 10. Give me 10. Go ahead. Come on. Shoot away, Phil. Got him.
Right,
I got you right there. I got you right there. Come on.
Chop Robinson in Miami, a stud pick by the Dolphins.
Oh,
He'll probably be better than Highsmith by week 4.
Hasn't played.
Yeah, I'll give you a little. You want to throw a homer at me?
Hasn't played a snap. Hasn't played a snap.
That's right. He's going to be a stud.
Oh,
he's
come
Mike Jr. Is what they're
you're just so this is what we're gonna have to call you. We're gonna have to have like a sounder in here for like a ding bell or something, or like a siren. Like, oh yeah, we caught Phil off guard here, and he can't name anything yet. The Babe, Phil the Babe Sitter. That's right, you choked under pressure.
Another thing. You're going to hear Babe Sitter a lot. Why? Because I run my softball team with an iron fist, unlike Aaron Boone. I pitch and I hit home runs. Why? Because I'm Babe Sitter. That's why. Of course, we made it to the finals. What happened? I had to go on vacation. And what did we do in the finals? We lost. I had to let this clown's uncle, John Mayer, run the team. And what did he do? He ran it to the ground. He managed like Aaron Boone, and we got swept. Terrible. He's fired. I fired his ass. Arnie Lauer is now the new manager when I'm not around. God help us.
So we're gonna wrap up on this point. You're gonna hear a lot of WBC talk, which is a wedding beer club out here where we're from. So you hear a lot of WBC and all the wackadoos from the WBC. But Phil, I appreciate you, and I'll definitely have to keep you in check over these next few weeks and months of doing this show with you.
Right now, Highsmith will not be a top 10 edge rusher. Now,
and you still, as you only stopped with 3, Phil, as you're trying to cut me off here
right now.
I know, I see that. I see that. I mean, I could name you guys off the top of my head. I could give you a few. I could give you Daniil Hunter. I could give you Daniil Hunter, who's one of the most underrated guys. And you probably couldn't tell me where he's playing right now.
He was with Minnesota. I think he's with Green Bay.
Heck no, wrong. He's with the Texans. Come on. He's loaded up in Texans. He's Houston, baby.
Oh, that's right. He's with Texas.
Yes, he's with the Texans. So you got Daniil Hunter, you got Nick Bosa, you have Micah Parsons, clearly. You have TJ Watt, you have Myles Garrett. Then after that, it starts slowing down. Who's the
guy on the Bengals who's really good?
Trey Hendrickson,
yes, he's another good one. Baltimore has a ton of
Brian Burns. Brian Burns is probably in the discussion.
They're all better than Highsmith.
Yeah. Again, we haven't reached 10 yet. Sorry to tell you, Phil.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, but everyone we've named so far is still better.
They are better. I'm not going to argue with you. That's why I'm naming you guys.
Good. I'll give you that. He's good. He's not great. Don't put him in the Hall of Fame yet, even though the NFL puts everyone in the Hall of Fame.
I not once ever said Highsmith's a Hall of Famer. I said he's a top 10 edge rusher in football.
Oh, top 10, then he's got to be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah.
Oh God, top 10 currently in the NFL. And on that note, I'm going to wrap this thing up. Appreciate everyone for listening to the first ever revamped Personal Foul podcast. I'm your host, Colton Gesser. This is my co-host, Phil Seta, and we appreciate all of you for tuning in. We'll be live again next Tuesday. We're going to start doing these every Tuesday, are these
Yes,
shows.
every Tuesday we're going to recap the games, and you are going to have my predictions on who's going to win divisions, playoffs, and Super Bowl. I will have that all ready for you. I know you'll want to turn in because you're going to make a lot of money off my predictions. You want to know why? Because I know genius and you don't. That's right.
And this is the Personal Foul podcast. Appreciate everyone.